Meanwhile, mass flight cancellations and border closures in crucial transit countries are wreaking havoc on New Zealanders' travel plans trying to come home, as well as those going the other way. One woman trying to get out of London says she has spent $10,000 on flights but has yet to step foot onto a plane. The government this afternoon encouraged New Zealanders overseas to shelter in place and said there were no guarantees government-assisted flights would be possible. Harry Locke has this report.
New Zealander Lucia Afanasi made the decision to come home a week ago, at a time when the situation in London, where she lives with her husband, was escalating and international flights were getting more precarious. She initially booked onto one flight through Air New Zealand, due to leave on Wednesday. But when she found out she could no longer transit through Singapore, she chose to book another flight with Etihad, stopping over in Dubai. But turning up at Heathrow, she, along with the 300 other passengers, was told 10 minutes before check-in only UAE residents would be able to board.
At the airport, there were people crying, there were families, a grown man sobbing in the corner, elderly couples who were trying to get back, Australians as well as Kiwis.
She's now facing a lockdown in London, a city where there have been over 2,000 cases of coronavirus.
We feel now like we're stuck in London, and it doesn't seem like the government really have a plan to help people in our situation.
She says the government advice up until now was to try and get home as soon as possible.
The frustrating thing as well is that the government keeps saying, book commercial flights, but there are no commercial flights left.
That directive has now changed, the government asking those overseas to stay where they are. While Air New Zealand say they are exploring the possibility of repatriation flights with the government, Foreign Affairs Minister Winston Peters says there are no guarantees that will be possible. Lucia's story is one that many people around the world are finding familiar. Here in New Zealand, British holidaymakers are trying to go back the other way, heeding their government's advice to all Brits overseas to come home. Around 30 people congregated outside the British consulate in Auckland this morning. For some, like Stephen Brown from Northampton, it's a pressing matter.
We're absolutely stuck. Somebody needs to give us some guidance. The next concern is that our hotel here in town has said to us that from midnight on Wednesday they cannot guarantee that we'll be able to stop in the hotel. So here we are then. Nobody will talk to us from the embassy. The hotel may well throw us out at midnight tomorrow night with suitcases. Where are we supposed to go?
Many tried their luck heading to the airport as soon as they heard the news yesterday that New Zealand was to go into lockdown. Nick, who's been travelling around the country with his partner Amy, says there wasn't any hope in getting home.
We've been pretty much abandoned by the airlines. We turned up to the airport yesterday, everyone had already been sent home, so there's no customer service, nothing. We've just literally spoken to our airline and they've just said there's no flights until the 4th of July. So we're potentially facing 3 months without getting home.
Sarah Phillips came over for a holiday at the beginning of March to visit her brother Sam, who lives and works in Wellington. She went up to the British High Commission this morning, but found a deserted building. She says the advice being given is still lagging behind.
I knew that I couldn't leave the country before I was told, by the Foreign Office to leave the country. So I knew yesterday afternoon, and then this morning, a notification from the SCO saying, Brits should go home now, and that's the official advice.
The British High Commission has now set up a form where British nationals in New Zealand can register their details. The Commission says they will then send out regular information updates, including if and when any further flights become available. For Checkpoint, Harry Locke.